Welcome you all. So myself is Karthikeyan, working as a faculty in the Department of Aerospace Engineering at B.S. Abdurrahman Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai. In this video, we are going to discuss about one-dimensional compressible flow. It is a content of aerodynamics 2 or high-speed aerodynamic course. Especially here the content cover about the first module or first unit. I hope at the end of this video you can able to get answer for the following questions or some concept. So you can pause this slide and you can read the questions because I want to go to video directly. So you want to read the questions or concept, just to pause and read it. So my suggestion, since this video belongs to aerodynamics 2 or high speed aerodynamic course, especially we are talking about compressible flow. If you have some idea about this topic like flow properties and governing equations, then it is somewhat comfortable for understanding of this video. Otherwise, already I uploaded some videos related to this topic, so you can check and get the idea about these topics. Starting with perfect gas. So compressible flow, you know very well. The flow will be differentiated by changes with respect to density. If the flow property, especially for density, getting changes, then that is called as a compressible flow. If density is not varying, then that is called as incompressible flow. So mostly aerodynamics 1 or low speed aerodynamic course, we are talking about incompressible flow. But when you're talking about aerodynamics 2 or high speed aerodynamic course, we will be considering compressible flow. That means we are considering changes in the density in the flow also. So we are starting with the perfect gas. The perfect gas, a gas is a collection of particles, especially for molecules, atom, ion, electron, etc., which are in many more or less random motion. The force field due to the one particular reaches out and interact with the neighbors, especially for that is called as a intramolecular forces. That means when you are having a molecule, atom or ion, electrons, it may having the intramolecular forces between them. If that intermolecular forces neglected, then that type of gas is called as perfect gas. So most of the cases we are considering in the perfect gas only. The very famous equation, that is a PV equal to MRT. Okay, here the equation is that equation is not presented here. The PV equal to MRT. So from that equation only these equations are arrived. Okay, here P represents pressure and V, that is a volume, then M mass and R gas constant and T temperature. So mass per volume density. So the first equation PV equal to MRT. So from that equation we can say mass per volume density. So from that equation you can able to arrive this particular form. Again we need to convert this form also. Here we especially talking about specific volume. Specific volume nothing but volume per unit mass. So here we need to consider the perfect gas means the intermolecular forces are neglected. Then we go to next topic, internal energy and enthalpy. When you're talking about internal energy, we need to consider all the type of energy which is available in the systems. For example, translational, rotational, vibrational, electric energy. So these are some few examples of types of energies available. So when you are summing of all this energy, then that is called as the total energy. See, the sum of energies of all the molecules in this volume is defined as the internal energy of the gas. The internal energy per unit mass of gas is defined as the specific internal energy. Okay, so internal energy is different, specific internal energy is different. Then we can able to define enthalpy with the help of the internal energy. So how we can able to relate enthalpy and internal energy? By this equation. So H equal to E plus PV. Here H represents specific enthalpy and E internal energy, P one pressure, V one volume. So from this equation we can able to connect internal energy and enthalpy. So for the perfect gas, both E and H, that means internal energy and enthalpy are the function of temperature only. So you can able to write in this form also, E equal to E of T, H equal to H of T. Let dE and dH represents the differential of E and H respectively. Then again we can able to write in this form, that is we are including of specific heat, constant pressure at a constant volume. Okay, constant pressure is specific heat and constant pressure. Okay, regarding these specific heats, already I uploaded the video. You can get more idea about the specific heats, definition and property, equation, all those things. Now we come for the next topic, calorically perfect gas. Okay, so we are talking about perfect gas. Now we move on to calorically perfect gas. Okay, so it is very important, because why it is important? Calorically perfect gas, it defines with the help of the temperature. Okay, when you're talking about air as a medium, especially temperature is less than 1000 Kelvin. Okay, when you're having this type of condition, then automatically your specific heats are reasonably constant. There is no change in the specific heat, that is there is no change in the Cp and Cv value, since the condition is the air and especially for temperature less than 1000 Kelvin. Then the type of gases is called as a calorically perfect gas. So when you're talking about condition with the temperature and medium, then automatically we can define E and H in this form. So E equal to CVT and H equal to CPT. So here you have to remember the temperature value and specific heats are reasonably constant. Then that gas is called as calorically perfect gas. So these are a few other important equations related to your specific heats. So specific heats you know very well, specific heat Cp and Cv. So here I given some equations, the very famous equations to relating with other parameter. For example, the specific heat equation with relating with the gas constant. Then adiabatic index with the help of specific heats. And again Cp value directly with the help of adiabatic index and gas constant. So these are the equations, very famous equations. Just I want to recall this equation, that is why I put it here. Next we move on to first law of thermodynamics. So first law of thermodynamics is dealing with the energy, work and heat. So the three terms are related. So that equation is called as a first law of thermodynamics. Okay. So here we have to know about three important things. First one, system, surrounding and boundary. System is nothing but a fixed mass of gas which we define as the system. For example, if you are taking the air, so we are taking as a gas. Otherwise a fixed mass of matter, that is also a correct definition. A fixed mass of matter which we define as a system. Then region outside the system is called as a surrounding. The interface between the system and the surrounding is called as boundary. Okay, for example, if delta Q, so delta Q be an incremental amount of heat added to the system across the boundary, then delta W denotes the work done on the system by the surroundings. The heat added and the work done on the systems causes a change in energy. So that is the meaning of your first law of thermodynamics. So the meaning will be write in the equation form, that is delta Q plus delta W equal to dE. Here in thermodynamics you may study so many processes, especially for isothermal, isobaric, adiabatic process, reversible process, isentropic process, so many processes. Here we need to know about three important processes. So since we are aeronautical engineer, most of the time we are considering flow over an aircraft or flow over an aerofoil. When you are discussing about testing process, we are considering isentropic flow only. So it is very essential to understand the meaning of isentropic process, especially isentropic flow. So the isentropic flow we can able to define by these ways. The first we have to understand the meaning of adiabatic process. So adiabatic process is nothing but there is no heat transfer between system and the surrounding. Okay, there is no heat is added to the taken away from the system, that is called adiabatic process. Then reversible process, one in which no dissipative phenomenon occurs, that is effect of viscosity, thermal conductivity and mass diffusivity we are not considering. So even though it is happening, suppose we are not considering all those things, then that type of process is called as reversible process. And next one, isentropic process. So isentropic process is nothing but one in which both adiabatic and reversible are happen. So when you are considering a process that is combination of adiabatic and reversible, then that is called as isentropic. So what exactly means of isentropic? There is no heat transfer between system and surrounding. Similarly, we are not considering any viscosity effect. So that point we have to remember when you're talking about isentropic flow. Then similarly, other few equations. For example, if the reversible process, automatically dw equal to minus p dv. So we have that form. Then we can be able to replace dw with this particular minus p dv. So now this is a first law of thermodynamics equation. Now we move on to second law of thermodynamics, similarly for entropy. So you may have the question, why we need a second law of thermodynamics? So in the Anderson book, he explained very clearly. In the first law of thermodynamics, the definition not mentioning about the direction of the heat. So it is not perfectly fit for all the condition. For example, simply we are following only first law of thermodynamics. You can take an example of, we have the iron rod with the heated condition. Similarly, it's an ice cube. Suppose if you are putting ice cube on the iron rod, what will happen? The heated iron rod give the temperature to the ice cube, automatically ice cube will melt. That is what physically will happen. But as per the first law of thermodynamics, okay, what it says, when you are putting ice cube on the heated rod, again ice will get some more cooler and the heating rod will get some more heater. It is not possible one, because when you're putting ice cube on the heated rod, from the heated rod temperature will be getting reduced because it transfer heat to the ice cube, and ice cube temperature getting increases. That is why from the minus degree 2 comes 0 and it may give some melting condition. So this direction of heat condition it not mentioned in the first law of thermodynamics. That is why the second law of thermodynamics are introduced. Here the direction will be intimated very perfectly with the help of the entropy. So entropy is one of the important parameter to dealing with the direction of the heat condition. So that is why it is linked with the second law of thermodynamics. The more content you already studied in your thermodynamics. Here I give only for the equation form. So the entropy ds equal to dq reversible divided by T, where S is the entropy of the system and dq reversible is an incremental amount of heat added reversibly to the systems, and T is the system temperature. Okay, so these are all the various form of your second law of thermodynamics with respect to your ds values. So you can able to get a different form. So depends upon the condition you can able to use for the equations for the particular case. So especially this is one of the famous equation, the change in entropy. So change in entropy equation with respect to temperature and density here given here. Okay, so these are the equation is very important. When you're discussing about aerodynamics too, depends upon the condition we will use all these equations. Again, isentropic relation. So it's a very unique relation to combine pressure, density and temperature. So with the help of a adiabatic index gamma. Now we are coming for the another concept, compressibility. So compressibility, the amount by which a substance can be compressed is given by a specific property of the substance called as compressibility. For example, consider a small element of fluid of volume V. The pressure exerted on the side of the element is P. You can refer the picture. Here the picture is given. You can refer the picture also. Assume the pressure is now increased by an infinitesimal amount of dP. The volume of the element will be changed by an corresponding amount dV. Here the volume will be decreased, hence dV is negative quantity. So by definition of compressibility, we can able to write in the form of gamma equal to minus 1 by V dV by dP. Okay, so that is the meaning of your compressibility. So very simple, how we can able to remember the definition of compressibility. You can see the last line. In the compressibility is the fractional change in volume of the fluid element per unit change in pressure. Okay, so the fractional change in volume of the fluid element per unit change of pressure, that is called as a compressibility. So again, compressibility also having various forms. Isentropic compressibility. Okay, so if there is no heat is added or taken away from the systems, automatically it comes under adiabatic. Similarly, if you are not considering any friction effect also, then it is called as a isentropic. Suppose I am having the flow like that, then automatically the defining the compressibility is called as a isentropic compressibility. So you can see the different previously only for tau equal to minus 1 by V dV by dP. Now you can see tau s. That means here we are considering the isentropic process, isentropic compressibility we are getting. Okay, that is why you can see the s term arrives, s nothing but entropy. So isentropic process arrives, automatically it is called as a isentropic compressibility. Then again I want to relate the pressure and density in terms of compressibility. You can able to replace volume with the specific density. Okay, so that is why it comes here tau equal to 1 by rho d rho by dp. So these are the various form of compressibility equation. Now the governing equation for the inviscid compressible flow. When you're talking about aerodynamics 1 or low speed aerodynamics, we are mainly dealing with the incompressible inviscid flow. There also we defined three governing equation, that is continuity equation, momentum equation and energy equation. Now since the subject is mainly depend upon the compressible flow, so here mainly concentrating on the equation belongs to inviscid compressible flow. In most of the cases, in it is incompressible flow, density will not come to the picture. So we are mainly bothered about pressure and velocity. So when you're looking for pressure and velocity, among the three governing equation, that is continuity, momentum, energy equation, only two equation is sufficient. Continuity, momentum equation is sufficient because we are looking only for the changes in pressure and velocity. But when you are coming for the compressible flow, automatically density will be come to the picture. So density with respect to the internal energy. So internal energy with respect to your temperature. So now how many parameters we have? We have the velocity, pressure, temperature, density and the internal energy. So when you are considering the flow will be the compressible flow, we need to consider these 5 parameters. But we have only the three governing equation: continuity equation, momentum equation, energy equation. So with the help of three equations, 5 unknown parameters to finding is somewhat difficulty. So we are adding another 2 more equation, that is why it's called as a 5 governing equation when you're discussing about compressible flow. So here I have given the three governing equation in a single slide. The derivation of continuity equation, momentum equation, energy equation, a separate video will be available. You can check my videos. Here I am giving only the final forms. Final form means both integral form as well as differential form. So integral form and differential form of continuity equation in 3-dimensional. You keep in your mind, here we are talking about only 3-dimensional. Okay. Anyway, we are going to talk about only 1-dimensional flow. So we have to make it very clear how we are coming from 3-dimensional to 1-dimensional. That is why here she shows continuity equation, momentum equation, energy equation in 3-dimensional form, both integral as well as differential forms. Okay, we have to keep in mind we have the 5 parameter. Anyway, we need the 5 governing equation. Here the 3 governing equation is available. Another 2 more governing equation we consider, that is the 4th one, equation of state, and the 5th one, internal energy. So with the help of these 5 equations, we can able to find out our 5 parameters, that is velocity, pressure, temperature, density and the internal energy. So this concept is very essential since belongs to aeronautic engineering, especially for when you're talking about aerodynamics. So this concept you have to understand very clearly. So when you're talking about only pressure and velocity, continuity momentum equation is sufficient. But when you're talking about pressure, velocity, density, along with the density, temperature and internal energy will come. So we need the 5 governing equations. Okay. Now another concept, that is total condition or stagnation condition. So we are frequently using total temperature or stagnation pressure. Okay. So here we need to understand how these terms are arrived. For example, static pressure is a measure of the purely random motion of molecules in a gas. It is pressure you feel when you ride along with the gas at a local flow velocity. Okay, that is called as a static flow. For example, I am bringing my point. That means the flow velocity to total or stagnation. Then I have to bring it my velocity equal to 0 condition. There is a flow. I am measuring the velocity along with the flow. Then that pressure is called as static pressure. Okay, I'm measuring the pressure along with the flow. That is called as static pressure. but now what I'm doing, I am bringing the velocity equal to 0 condition. That time I am measuring the pressure, that is called as a total pressure. So this is the very important. Then based on this one, even though I am bringing the velocity equal to 0, my condition is how I am bringing velocity equal to 0. Based on which condition I am bringing velocity equal to 0, that is I am bringing the velocity equal to 0 based on isentropic condition. Okay, so why I'm considering that particular process? Because we know very well isentropic condition means automatically there is no heat transfer. Similarly, mass diffusivity and the effect of viscosity are absence. That is why we are bringing velocity in the isentropically 0 condition. So that is then if you are bringing that condition, then automatically based on the particular point, what are the parameter we are having, that is called as a total condition, that is total temperature, total pressure, total density, whatever things will be available. So here we will see one by one. So consider the fluid element passing through a given point in a flow where the local pressure, temperature, density, Mach number and velocity are P, T, rho, V, M, V respectively. Here pressure, temperature and density are the static quantities. Okay, pressure, temperature and density are the static quantities, that is static pressure, static temperature and static density respectively. They are the pressure, temperature and density you feel when you ride along with the gases at the local flow velocities. Okay, that's the point. Then now imagine that you hold a fluid element and adiabatically slows it down to the 0 velocity. Adiabatically bringing 0 velocity, that means along with the isentropic condition. You would expect, that is exactly correct value, that have value of pressure, temperature, density would change at the fluid element is brought to the rest. The value of the temperature of the fluid element after it is brought to rest adiabatically, exactly adiabatically. Okay, so I may say the isentropically, but exactly we are bringing into adiabatic condition. Adiabatic condition means there is no any heat transfer. Okay, then it defines particular point is called as a total temperature. So defined by the letter T naught. So adiabatically bring it to 0, then that is called as a T naught. The same way for enthalpy also. So enthalpy for the particular condition we can say H naught. Okay, then from the definition of substance derivative, so this term will be very familiar when you're dealing with the continuity, momentum and energy equation. Substance derivative state that the time rate of change of H plus V squared by 2 following a moving fluid element is 0. So for I am bringing the velocity adiabatically 0, I can able to write in this form of my enthalpy equation. Then similarly, this equation only applicable along with the streamline. Okay, that is especially for steady, adiabatic and inviscid condition. In particular, the above equation hold for an adiabatic flow. It can be used to elaborate on our previous definition of the total enthalpy. Since H naught is defined as the enthalpy which would exist at a point if the fluid element were brought to rest adiabatically, we find from when V equal to 0 and hence H equal to H naught. Now the total enthalpy we can able to write in this form, that is H plus V squared by 2 equal to H naught. It states that any point in a flow, the total enthalpy is given by the sum of static enthalpy plus the kinetic energy. Okay, so that is the important arriving we are getting from this equation. You see here total enthalpy H naught. Total enthalpy H naught equal to H plus V squared by 2. That important result we got from the equation. Now the total enthalpy is constant along the streamline. Moreover, if all the streamlines of the flow originate from a common uniform free stream, then H naught is a same for each streamline. That means your H naught value equal to constant. That also we can able to consider. Suppose I am considering for the calorically perfect gas. That time H naught equal to CpT naught. Then that time H naught equal to constant. So from that relation I can able to say T naught equal to also constant. So these are the three equations we have to remember. H naught equal to H plus V squared by 2. Similarly, when H naught value will be constant. Similarly, when T naught value will be constant. It depends upon the calorically perfect gas condition. Now we are coming for the important content, that is for one dimensional flow concept. It's a very, very important because your aerodynamics 2 or low speed, high speed aerodynamic courses purely for your content related to property changes with respect to the shocks, especially for normal shock, oblique shock, or bow shock, so many shocks. Okay, here we are going to touch a little bit about the shocks. Okay, so the formation of shock and the various property changes we will be these consequent videos. Here I need to tell about how we consider one dimensional flow for the normal shock cases. Okay, so just time being you understand, this is the airplane. When you airplane flying at Mach number 1.06 condition, we are feeling that this is attached shock wave. This is a detached shock waves. Okay, so we are feeling this is a detached shock wave. Then when you are flying at Mach number 1.405, we are getting the attached oblique shock waves. Okay, so here detached shock waves, here attached shock waves. Okay, the angle between the shock waves called as a, the angle between the shock waves and surface is called as a oblique shock waves. Okay, here the oblique shock wave have very less angle. Here the oblique angle will be very high compared to the surface. So oblique angle is very high. Here oblique angle is very, very less. Okay, so you may consider these two cases from small amount of shocks, especially perpendicular to the surfaces. Small amount of shocks, exactly the direction will be normal to the surface. So you can see this diagram, the third diagram. The shock is look like a straight line. Okay, so that type of shock is called as a normal shock. Normal shock means the shock exactly perpendicular to the surfaces. It's look like exactly a straight line. So even though it is a detached shock or attached shock, a small amount of portion will be exactly perpendicular. So that type of shock is called as a normal shocks. Okay, then another term you have to remember, before the normal shock there is a condition, after the normal shock there is a condition. So we are using the technically, this is the upstream condition, then here is downstream condition. So before the shock we called as a upstream condition, and after the shock we called as a downstream condition. Okay, so here before the shock, that is upstream condition property P1, T1, rho 1, U1 and Mach number greater than 1. Then downstream condition P2, T2, rho 2, U2, Mach number less than 1. Okay, so this slide you can able to get clear idea what are the parameters are getting changes and what are the parameters are getting increases. For example, compared to the upstream, downstream side only velocity getting reduced. See, U1, U2 less than U1. So since the properties changes with respect to only one direction. Okay, so P2 is changing, pressure, temperature, density. The three parameters are increases compared to the upstream condition. So downstream condition P2, T2, rho 2 all are increases, only velocity getting decreases. Velocity decreases means automatically Mach number also getting decreases. So this is the way we can able to easily find out the changes in the parameter with respect to only one direction, that is x direction alone. So the changes in the other y direction, z direction are very small or sometimes negligible. That is why your normal shock is called as the one dimensional flow, because the property changes with respect to only one direction. So this is called as a one dimensional flow cases. So this is the reason the normal shocks comes under one dimensional flow. So properties changes with respect to only one direction. But when you come for the oblique shock, you can see this diagram. In the oblique shocks, okay, it's almost like a 45-degree angle line. Okay, so suppose I want to find the properties before the shock, after the shock, I need to consider both x values as well as y values. Then only I can able to find out the property changes perfectly. So this oblique shocks comes under two dimensional. Okay, so this is the way you are getting difference between oblique shock and normal shock. Since the normal shock property changes with respect to only one direction, so we can call it as a one dimensional flow equations. Okay, so here the portion of the shock wave in the figures that the perpendicular to the free stream are called the normal shock. That's what we discussed in the previous slide. Okay, a normal shock wave is illustrated in the figure. it is an excellent example of an class of flow field that is called as a one-dimensional flow. So oblique shocks wave are two-dimensional phenomenon. Okay, so this is the condition. Since we are dealing with basic concept, and next we are going to discuss about effect of normal shocks. So since normal shocks belongs to only one-dimensional, so this is the time to rearrange our governing equation. So already we derived the governing equation in three-dimensional form. Okay, so now we are bothered only about the parameter changes only in the one direction. So it is a very essential to convert three-dimensional form of governing equation into one-dimensional form. Here the equations are given. So the first equation belongs to, you know very well, continuity equation in one-dimensional form. Then second equation belongs to continuity equation in, momentum equation in one-dimensional form. And third equations belongs to energy equation in one-dimensional form. Okay, so now you understand why you need to bother about one-dimensional flow, because your normal shock parameter changes with respect to only one dimension. So this is the governing equation with respect to one dimension. So another one more important concept, since you are studying the proportion of thermodynamics, we are studying about constant area relation or variable area relation, constant area duct or variable area duct. Okay, so if it is constant area duct, then automatically, like a one-dimensional flow, the property changes with respect to only one direction. Okay, see here, area will be constant, the pressure, density, temperature with respect to only one direction, that is x. This is the constant area duct, but this is called your variable area duct. So inlet will be another area, exit will be other area. So although automatically your property changes with respect to three-dimensional x, y, z direction, based on that only your property will be getting changes. Even though this will be changing with three-dimensional, I am considering only one direction. The changes happening in the three-dimensional, but I am considering only one direction. Then that type of condition is called as a QC one-dimensional flow condition. So you can say this is a duct or steam tube, anything. Okay, this may be a steam tube or it may be duct. Okay, so like that we can able to say this is a purely one-dimensional flow. Here the changes happening in the three-dimensional, but we are considering only the one dimension, that is called as a QC one-dimensional flow. When I am considering the normal shock, then we are looking for only the changes before and after the shock, that is upstream condition and downstream condition. To understand the conditions, you have to frame the control volume. So this is a normal shock condition, the shaded line. Okay, then this is the control volume. So entering of control volume, the parameters, leaving of control volume, these parameters. Like that we can able to understand the concept. Now the another important, that is the speed of sound and Mach number. The speed of sound, yes, again it is also belongs to one-dimensional flow. So this is called as a wave sound. So wave sound or weak sound, weak wave, sound wave or weak wave. Sound wave or weak wave means simply called as only sound wave. Suppose for example, somebody is speaking, you are hearing their voice. The reason is the sound waves travels in the air and it reaches to your eardrum. So that is called as a sound wave. The sound wave, it may not produce or it may not makes much changes in the density, temperature. That type of sound wave is called as the weak waves. Okay, that type of sound wave is called as the weak waves. Sound waves, normally whenever somebody is talking, you are hearing the voice because of sound waves. So that sound waves may not be create much changes in temperature and pressure, then that comes under weak waves. Suppose that sound waves makes much changes in temperature and density, that type of sound waves called as a strong waves. The best example, shocks. The shocks comes under strong waves. Okay, so you have to correlate like this way. The very first point, sound waves. From the sound waves only we are classifying weak waves and strong waves. So weak waves means general our voice. You can take example of general our voice. Then strong waves, nothing but shocks. So here also I want to changes upstream condition and downstream condition. Okay, automatically it's a one-dimensional flow. So I can say like only changes in the x direction. So here A denotes speed of sound and other parameters are common, P, pressure, density, temperature. Okay, so here I am going to consider two important governing equation. The first governing equation continuity and the second governing equation momentum equation. Okay, since it is a sound wave, it belongs to velocity, so the two equation is sufficient to bring out the final form. So this first form of equations, it comes under continuity equation. Then after some mathematical interpolation, we get the equation A equal to minus rho dA by d rho. So this is a one form of equation for sound waves or speed of sound. The same condition, next I am applying for momentum equation one dimensional flow. When I apply momentum equation one dimensional flow, I can expand the equation like this, and after some mathematical interpolation, I will get the equation in dA form. Then I replace with this E equation in this form. Then finally I will get A squared equal to d rho by dP by d rho. Okay, so what he says, the speed of sound d rho by dP by d rho, the terms already we discussed in terms of compressibility. Okay, so compressibility also finally we bring the terms of dP by d rho only. So the conclusion from here, what we can say, the compressibility, it depends upon the, your speed of sound, it depends upon the compressibility effect. That is why study of your compressibility is very important when you're talking about high speed flows or aerodynamic two conditions. Okay, so that means your speed of sound or velocity of sound, it's purely depends upon your compressibility effect. Okay, so here some various form of equation of sound or velocity of sound will be given. Okay, just to have a look, these are the various forms. Depends upon the condition, we can able to use this equation. And another one or two slides only for the review of equations only, because concept you already studied in thermodynamic courses or some topic you studied in propulsion courses. Okay, so here we are going to use some equation for the further modules. That is why I given for the only final form of equation. Okay, so whenever the equation is necessary, we will take from this particular form, then we can able to apply for our high speed aerodynamics or aerodynamic 2 course condition. So alternative form of the energy equation. So with the help of your enthalpy and one dimensional velocity equations. Okay, so in this equation will be applicable with no heat addition. Then similarly for calorically perfect gas condition, I can use this type of equations. So like that, there are different type of form of equations will be available. Here with the help of density, pressure, we using the adiabatic index, there is equation form. Then again the A star. Okay, A star is a critical speed of sound. Okay, so you know very well, whenever you are talking about the speed of sound, that is before start, that is upstream condition or downstream condition, I am bringing the Mach number equal to 1. When I reach the Mach number equal to 1, then that is called as the critical condition. So when I bring in the Mach number equal to 1, then that is called as a critical condition. In that condition, what are the parameter you are finding? That parameter will be denoted by the star. That is, for example, Mach number equal to 1 condition. In that condition, I am finding the velocity of sound. Then that sound is called as a critical speed of sound. Similarly, critical temperature, critical pressure. Okay, so many things will be available. Only related to your Mach number equal to 1 condition. So here again stagnation speed of sound equation and total or stagnation density equations will be given in this slide. So there is another thermodynamic relation, temperature relation, total and static temperature relation, total pressure and static pressure relation, total density and static density relation. Okay, and other form of equations with the help of your A star equation, P star equation, rho star equation. Then again, when you're talking about T star to T naught, the ratio, the value is important, because when you're talking about normal shock equation, oblique shock equation, these conditions will be, we are going to apply these values, the ratio between T star to T naught, P star to P naught, rho star to rho naught. Okay, and finally the Mach number. So Mach number nothing but the ratio between velocity observed divided by velocity of sound. So with that we can able to bring out all these final form of this equation. Okay, so this equation you have to remember. This equation already studied in thermodynamic course. Here only for the some recall of the final form of equation will be available, because this equation you are going to use in the our courses also. That is why I am bringing the all the form of equation for your quick reference purpose. Okay, so these are the textbook I referred for making of this presentation, especially for modern compressible flow by Anderson, and fundamental of aerodynamic by Anderson, and fluid mechanics by White. Okay, so thank you for watching my videos. So once again, thank you.